This morning I'm going to be doing a live card class using the Delicate Pines stamp set and dies. It also has DSP. It was a suite. And the DSP is so very pretty, as you can see on these cards that I use the DSP on. Really, really pretty colors. And just the combination of like the snowflake and the pine. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I thought snowflakes and pine, that doesn't go together. But man, I am so glad I got this because just look how beautiful these cards are. So for the card class, you can receive all the materials except things that are stamped or things that are cut with the dies that come in the bundle. But you can get everything else free, all your card bases, cardstock, embossed pieces, everything that is that you need except for the stamp set and the dies. And you can get that free with a $40 purchase, or you can just order the card materials. And you can order those card materials for $25. So let's just go ahead and make some cards. Let's make beautiful cards together. So our first card, let me see, I'm trying to find my video, my live, so I can actually watch too, and I can see your comments. So feel free to comment and chime in. I love to hear from you. So we're gonna start with the Celebrate the Season, with this middle banner that says Celebrate the Season. And I am going to show you the coolest way to get these angles exact. I love math. I was originally a engineering major when I was in college because I loved math so much, but it really wasn't for me. So I changed my major to teaching, and best thing I ever did. I wanted kids to love school. So when I taught, that is what my goal was. So what this is a cherry cobbler card base, just a standard A2 card base that we're going to do in the landscape way. We're using the So Swirly embossing folder that, to me, it just looks like swirls of snow. So I thought it went really nice with the pines and the snowflake theme. So we're going to go ahead and put on our So Swirly. White. This is just basic white embossed. And you want to use a lot because when the paper is embossed, it can sometimes get a little, where it might be like a little warped. So you just want to have plenty of glue around the edges to keep everything down flat where you want it. Definitely don't need that much for just like the inside panel or any panel, but I like to use it with the embossed pieces. We're going to use this DSP, looks like that on the other side, which we're actually going to be using a little bit later on one of the other cards. And this piece is 5 1/4 by, I believe it is 1 1/2. So let's go ahead and cut that piece. So I think this is already 5 1/4. Yes, I just need to cut that at 1 1/2. That one. And we're going to put that right in the middle, as close to the middle as we can. And you can kind of use, let's see what you'll be able to see here in the picture. Like right here, if you, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, so 17. So if you count in 8, 9, the 9th one, that is the middle. So you'll want it right about there. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5 1/2 if you're using your grid paper. Grid paper is a wonderful tool, wonderful tool. Okay. Put some Stampin' adhesive on each end and right in the middle. 1.5, so it's going to go right about there. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. Okay. Next, we're going to add our square. This is cut from Stylish Shapes. You know, this is my absolute favorite die set. Stylish Shapes. Could not make cards without it. As a matter of fact, I loved it so much, I bought 2. So I can make things twice as fast. I just use this so often. And actually the real reason that I bought 2 is because I lost one of the dies and I missed it so much. And then when I redid my craft room, we were taking out a little shelf that I kept my punches in. And hubby goes, "What's this?" "Oh, that's my missing die." And I was so happy. So now I have 2 complete sets, which is awesome. Next, we're going to go ahead and add our snowflake. So this snowflake is stamped with the large snowflake stamp. This is a biggie. This is an E-block that I'm using to cut this out because it's a very large block, a very large stamp. But it stamps beautifully and the detail is lovely. And then you have the dies to cut it out. So we're just going to put that and we're going to put it facing with the pointed up and down. And for this, I'm just going to use some liquid glue. This is the Tombow. I'm just going to put a bit back there. This stuff really sticks well. You really don't need a lot. As the kindergarten teachers always say, a little dot does a lot. I always think of that when I'm using it. Not that I ever taught kindergarten. Oh my heavens, no. There's a special place in heaven for kindergarten teachers. I once had a teacher come to me, begged to teach kindergarten. And she came to me after like the 3rd day and went, "Miss I can't do kindergarten. They're like sugar ants." I just laughed and laughed. Sugar ants. But that's pretty much what it's like. Herding cats. All right. So now for the sentiment. Celebrate the season. I did stamp this in cherry cobbler. You could, of course, stamp it in black or shaded spruce, which is what I stamped the snowflake in. That's shaded spruce. But I went ahead and did the cherry cobbler. So I'm going to get my foam mat and my paper, which is, so this is just white cardstock. It is 3/4 of an inch strip. And I'm going to go ahead and get my, this is Celebrate the Season. And, you know, some light taps. And then the stamp. Now, when you order your materials, I give you 2 pieces of this just in case that happens. So apparently there's like a little something, probably a cat fur. Of course, you can always use the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this. So I just got a brand new Stampin' Chamois. So my husband Michael is retiring and he's making cards too. And so we basically needed 2 Stampin' Chamois. So this is how they come when they're brand new. And they fit right into a Stampin' Up case, which are going to be obsolete soon because they're all coming in sleeves now. But fits right there. You wet it, you squeeze it out, and you rub your stamp on it, and you go, "Oh, I can't believe that." And then it's clean again. And I love that you can wipe your fingers off. So make sure you don't have inky fingers. I just love this Stampin' Chamois. And you just go and rinse it out and you use it. I've used my other one for probably 2 years. They just last and last. And yes, they get stained, but it doesn't. You just wash it out and rinse it, and then you're ready to go. All right, so let's see if I can do this now without any cap fur. You know what? Always practice. See, that's why you should practice. Now that one is perfect. Okay, so I'm going to use my second one. Trying to get it centered. It's nice to be able to see through. Oh, that looks fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Now for the math magic. Okay, so I'm going to take my cutter, my Stampin' Up cutter, which you see has all of these lines showing the quarter, half, and 3/4, and of course the inches. And that's basically what we're going to need. So I'm just going to cut the first cut at an angle. It doesn't matter what angle it is. Now comes the cool part. So somewhere in the recesses of my brain, from geometry, which I took in the summer before my 10th grade year, I remembered that parallel lines cut identical angles. So if you take this cut and you put it along one of these parallel lines, it'll be the same. So you just keep moving it over until you get it where you want it. And that looks like right where I want it, okay? So I'm gonna make sure it's right on that. And I'm gonna hold it down really well because, you know, it doesn't have anything to push against here. And you will have perfect cuts that are identical. And I can't find the other piece I cut off the other end, but if I did, you would see that they were absolutely identical from the cuts. So there's a cool little tip for you. So now we're going to add our sentiment with some dimensionals. I'm going to use a couple here. That's going to go, hang on, not quite. So I'm kind of looking at where these corners are hitting on the red. So right about there. And it's a little up from the middle. And I just like that look. Okay, now all we need is our bling. And oh, the bling. These are gorgeous. I love these. They're the faceted snowflakes, and they're in 3 colors. You have the silver clear, you have the pretty peacock or shaded spruce. I think it's pretty peacock, but it looks great with shaded spruce. And this absolutely gorgeous red cherry cobbler or red matches both, and you can see, I hope you can see the facets and how they shine. It's so pretty. I love them so much. Okay, so for this one, we're gonna use my pick tool, a large red star here, or snowflake. They look like stars too. A large pretty peacock or shaded spruce snowflake here, and then a small red snowflake in this corner. Love, love, love that. For the inside of this card, I just took a 5 1/4 by 4, and I'm gonna use I'm not going to stamp off on this one. I stamp off on the others, but this is bold. I mean, these are dark colors, so I wanted a nice bold, actually I do need that. A nice bold inside stamp. And what I used for all the insides was this medium-sized snowflake that is also in the set, your stamp set. And I'm going to do this in Shaded Spruce. And I think the contrast with the Shaded Spruce... Oh, I didn't put it in. Oh, that's that one. That's one I just made. The contrast with the Shaded Spruce and the Cherry Cobbler, I think, is really pretty. So that's why I chose that one instead of matching it. And I just kind of have it going off the paper. And I have the point up. There we go. Now that is ready to put on the inside of our card. So we're going to use our Stampin' Seal. Tried to escape from my hand. A little on the sides, a little in the corners. That's all you need. Goes a long way. And then we're going to put this. And, you know, you could put it up at the top if you want it to be like falling snowflakes, or you could use the little snowflake stamp that comes in it. I just kind of like this one right here in the corner. And I haven't done it, but it'd be really pretty to use these snowflakes to decorate the envelope that you're going to put your cards in. So there's our first card, Celebrate the Season. Next up, we are going to do the most magical time of the year. And for this one, the only thing we're going to need to stamp is our sentiment and the inside of the card, because this comes right out of the DSP, which is so awesome. So let's go ahead and get our materials here. So our card base is Pretty Peacock. And again, we're going to put a layer of swirly snow. By the way, if you have purchased, there's a specialty paper that is like embossed already with snowflakes. And how I missed it and don't own it, I have no idea, except it might have been unavailable. So I couldn't order it. That's the only thing I can think of, because man, I'm going to get my hands on that. And I am going to order some so that I have it, because it's, I mean, it's already embossed with snowflakes, and they're decent sized snowflakes, but not too big. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put that on our card front. Yeah, that's the front. You know, once you put one on wrong, you learn to always check. Okay, so you see our next layers are the DSP and the Cherry Cobbler. So let's go ahead and get that cut. So our DSP piece is 5 1/4 by 2 1/4. So 5 1/4 by 2 1/4, which it is already at. So that's what we need there. Our Cherry Cobbler, we're going to need it to be 5 1/4. I think I'm going to cut it this way, because I'm going to use what's left on another card later. An easel card. We're going to make an easel card. Card number 4. So 5 1/4 by 2 1/2. There's that. I'm going to go ahead and put that over here with that easel card. Okay. So this is going to go here, and it's going to have a little border on each side, like a mat. Like so, and then that is going to go where there's like a little white of your snow, and then your cherry cobbler, and then your DSP. So let's go ahead and add this. We'll use our 6 little pieces of adhesive. And let's go ahead and put that on. That looks great. Now we're going to, we need these pieces of greenery that you see here. And they cut out like this. And I want to show you the die. And I have my last one. This is Old Olive. This one's Pretty Peacock. And this one is Shaded Spruce. But I wanted to show you how to get your die cuts out and how to clean your die cut, your die. So I'm using my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm using the pointed tool. And I pull those out, and that should be enough to get it out. And you'll probably have some little pieces here. I can't remember getting this when I ordered my first pick tool, and this is awesome. When you get the roller, the brush roller, to get out the little pieces from your dies, you get this foam, and it's great because you can just put your die cut down and push out, poke out the pieces, and then I just use my fingernail to get any of those hanging chads. Don't want any hanging chads. Okay, so you see how easy that comes out. And then this, you see all these little pieces. I could go individually and poke them all out, but I don't have to because I have this wonderful tool. And you just roll it and roll it. And no more pieces. There they all are. And then you just hit this on the side of the trash can and off they come. This is the best thing ever. So easy. So I need these. They are going to go on my card first before the snowflake pieces. So it's a shaded spruce going horizontally. It goes pretty much from here. Let me just kind of make sure I do it the same height. Right there. So when I glue this with my liquid glue, or you can use your fine tip glue, definitely going to put some on this middle piece. Or not. Okay, so now I get to use my husband's trick. Usually I would use this pin, but he says this works every time. Let's see if it worked. Get that off the tip. There it is. Amazing. And I'm just going to put some spots of glue right here. It's going to be covered because of the big snowflake. So we'll go ahead and we'll add that piece. So your ends are going to be loose, which is what you want. You know, they're pine boughs. You don't want it really flat. You want it to have a little bit of that dimension. And then I'm going to put the Pretty Peacock one on. Same thing. Just a bit of glue there. It's this middle one that's most important. Okay, and that one's going to point that way. And then the old olive, the olive branch. Extend an olive branch. And that one's going to go to make our last piece of the snowflakey pine background. Like so. So next come these really pretty pieces that are actually cut from the DSP called Elegant Pines. It comes in the suite if you buy the suite. This piece, and you get 2 of them, is what you use to cut this large snowflake. You use it to cut this smaller snowflake, and that's what I'm using on the card. There are also dies that will cut these little snowflakes, that'll cut these 3 little sprigs here and here. Just about everything on this paper can be die cut, which is really cool. But if you just want to make this card, you can get 6 of the large and 6 of the small out of each sheet. So that'd be like 12 cards you could make. So I already have those cut. So we're gonna just put that on there with that center facing up. So let's go ahead and put a little bit of glue there. So I also, when I first saw this DSP, I was kind of like, wow, they're putting old olive and shaded spruce and pretty peacock all in the same snowflake. And to me, I was like, I don't know if that goes, but boy, does it look nice. It goes really, really well. I mean, they are artists after all. I guess I should trust them that design these. And this is our piece that's going to go in the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and pop that up with some dimensionals. Put one there and one here. And again, we're going to do point up. Try to get that right there in the middle. Like so. And now for our sentiment, we're going to do It's the Most Magical Time of the Year. You're going to get 2 of these pieces. When you purchase the materials, when you purchase the class, you'll get 2 of these. And all right, I have my foam, I have a piece of copy paper so I can practice. Let's go ahead and get our sentiment. Sorry. Trying really hard to stay organized. Okay, it's the most wonderful time of the year. And it's right here. So I just kind of let that drop, because if you try to apply it straight to the block, it's probably going to be crooked. Okay, and this one I did stamp in black. So let's see how I can do here. Okay. Oh, practice. Make sure there aren't any stray cat hairs ruining your... Okay. Perfect. Actually, I see a little spot there. I'm going to do another. Wasn't wasn't quite, it's usable. It's usable, but I think I'm gonna do another one. That might be a little bit better. Gotta make sure it's laying nice and flat, because that can totally ruin your stamp. If it hits and then moves, make it blurry. Okay, let's try again. Come on. Oh yes, much better. Much better. All right, I'll wipe that off on my chamois. That is good to go. And we're just going to put that on with some dimensionals. Two should do it. Looks like I might have some inky fingers there. Okay, that's that one. Okay, and we're just going to put that near the bottom. Awesome. For our bling, we're going to use, our take your pick tool, and we're going to do a large pretty peacock snowflake there. And looks like we're going to use a small one here. And then in the center, I really like the look of that red cherry cobbler one. There we go. Now for the inside, we are going to take a 5 1/4 by 4 piece of white. And for this one, I did stamp off, I believe. Yes, I did. I used Pretty Peacock and I did a stamp off. So I will show you what I mean by that if you're not familiar with stamping off. I can't remember if I cleaned this stamp. Looks like I didn't, so. Okay. So I'm going to ink it up. I'm going to stamp on the copy paper, and then I'm going to stamp it. And I think I did it this way here, and it's going to be lighter. And kind of in my mind, I was thinking of like blue snowflakes falling. Okay. And we're ready to put on our adhesive and do the inside of our card. And that is card number 2 in our class. Again, I like the bottom left. I know, but you can put it wherever you'd like. Okay, that is card number 2. Card number 3 is our warmest wishes. We're going to do the easel card last. So card number 3 is warmest winter wishes. This is a landscape card with some angling done. So this is also Pretty Peacock for the card base, standard A2 size. We're going to go ahead and we're going to cut our DSP, and we also have a white layer. Now, I didn't emboss this. You certainly could emboss it. I didn't. So we'll go ahead and do that first. So let's go ahead and put on our white. That just goes like, you know, typically goes on the front of the card. This is 5 1/4 by 4. Okay. Now our DSP, this darker DSP, which has the pretty peacock color in it, is going to be cut to 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. So 4 3/4, I think we're already there, by 3 1/4. Okay. And then our pine cone, this is it's got a lot of white background, so it makes it nice for a front piece, whereas, you know, this one's so dark. That's why I put it on the back, because it kind of like mats it or frames it. This one's going to be 4. Is it already 4? No. Going to be 4 by 2 3/4. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put on our stamp and seal. You'll see this is the back of the one we used for card number 1. And I did that this way, kind of looking here and here, as well as the side, to see. That looks about right. And then the lighter piece is gonna go the other way. So I'm in Florida, and we are so happy today because it's 59 degrees at almost noon. Oh my goodness, 59. It's fantastic. Low tonight looks like 43. Is that right, weatherman?
30s, upper 30s, wind chill in the 20s.
Ooh, tonight?
Yeah.
Upper 30s, wind chill in the 20s. Oh my goodness. We don't see that much. Okay, so that one's on. So next, let's look at our white circles, okay? Guess what I used to cut those out? Say it with me. Yes, I use the Stylish Shapes to cut out these circles. It's, I think, the next to the largest circle. I will send you 2 when you buy the class, in case you mess up on your stamp. Okay. So let's get our stamp set. Warmest Winter Wishes. Last night we had the air conditioner on. And tonight we'll probably have to have the heater on. It makes us a little giddy here though. And here in Florida, like when it gets that low, people are like bundled up in coats and boots and hats, because we're just not used to that. We're always amazed when we go to like Indianapolis for a Colts game or someplace like that when it's cold, at how the people are dressed that like live there, and they're still walking around in shorts while wearing coats. All right, Warmest Winter Wishes. I'm gonna do this in black, and it's gonna go down way at the bottom. I'm gonna do a practice first. Yep, looks good. So lightly tap and stamp at the bottom. Excellent. Got it on the first try. Yay. Okay, now we need our pine cone and we need some pine sprigs. So in the dies, well, actually, I'm going to go ahead and put this on. So now this had me absolutely going buggy last night, because with the tilts of these two DSPs, I could not figure out if that Warmest Wishes was straight to save my life without a ruler. Oh, you know what? I did pop that up. So if I can roll this off. Well, you know what? I'm just going to put it flat. Okay, so here's what I did. I just could not eyeball it. So I got out my handy dandy centimeter ruler. And I think I did it, well, it doesn't, like 3.1 from the bottom. Okay, so I'm just gonna lightly lay it on where I think it's straight. I'm trying to look here. Okay, see how I did. Okay, it's exactly 3 centimeters from the bottom. That's actually really good. Okay, that was not as bad as what I went through last night. Just trying to get that straight. Okay, so for this greenery, you remember this one that we used, but it was kind of too long. I didn't want it that long. So I just snipped it right off. So I just cut it off so that I would have these two pieces that I could put a little closer together. And then there are these tiny little sprigs that I'm going to use to put on there as well. And you also get dies to make pine cones. So this is crumb cake on the bottom, and the top piece is pecan pie. So let's go ahead and glue these on. So I'm going to start with these. I'm going to glue them the same way I did the others, just putting on a little here. Move that over. You know. And we know that's going to be covered with the pine cone, so. And now our little ones. You really only need the glue in the center because these are so small. Just gonna make that go out there. Maybe turn it a little more. And then the old olive. And you know, I tried doing this with all the same color, thinking, you know, I'll just make it look like it's like all from one tree. And I just didn't like it as well. I really like the color combinations. They have me. They have me. So you know what I'm gonna do? Since I didn't pop up the circle, I think I'm gonna pop up the pine cone. Here we go. Put that on right there. Ah, nice. I like it. So let's go ahead and add our bling. Let's get those faceted snowflakes. Right now, I am, when you order the class, I am including the snowflake gems that you're going to need. Not a whole pack or half pack. That's for, I do classes that do that as well. But just for this card class, I am sending these along with the set, with the card kit. So we're going to use our coordinating Pretty Peacock. Yes, large one there, and a large one here. And then, oh, on here, I decided to put a red right there because I really liked it in the middle. But of course you don't get that all the time. I mean, I could put one here, but I think I might just put one there. And it was a small, just a little pop of red there. Makes it look very pretty and festive. So for the inside, did the exact same thing as I did for the last one. So we'll just go ahead and do that really quickly with our pretty peacock. And we're going to stamp off that to the side. And that is right there where the stamp cleaner is. Let me see, did I do the point up? Yes, I did. So stamp off and then point up and then go off the page a little bit. And let's go ahead and put that in our card. And then we're going to move on to our easel card. Easel cards are so pretty when they're standing up in their easel kind of way. And they're so impressive to give. And when people display them, they look so impressive. And they're really simple to make. But that can be your little secret. And all it takes is a little bit of math, which I love, of course. All right, there's card number 3. And let me go ahead and wipe off my stamp. This is our next card. It also uses Celebrate the Season. So I will be using that little parallel lines trick again, or strategy. It's not really a trick, to make this easel card. So what is an easel card? If you don't know, so it's like this, and then it pops up and goes against this inside sentiment that's popped up with the foam dots so that it sits up like that for display. And it's just so pretty and so impressive and really not all that difficult to make. So let's go ahead and make it. So the card base is the vertical, so 11 by 4 1/4, old olive. All my materials here. And we're gonna go ahead, I've already cut it, but we're gonna go ahead and score it. Make sure your cutting blade is out of the way so that you can score this in half. So that's 5 1/2, because that's half of 11. And then you're going to score it half of this. So 5 1/2 divided by 2 is 2 3/4. So that's going to be right there. And you score it there. And that is all the math you have to do, except for measuring your panels. So this folds in half, and then it folds this part in half. You want that to be nice and pushed down, and that is what makes the basic shape of your easel card. So we're going to use cherry cobbler. I told you we'd be using the rest of that piece. Here it is. And that's going to be 5 1/4 by 4. So 5 1/4, it's already at that, by 4. And on that, we have the So Swirly. So I pre-cut white cardstock to 5 1/4 by 4. Actually, my husband does it for me. So when I embossed this, it was 5 1/4 by 4, but I need it to fit inside this one. So we're going to cut this one at 5. Just going to take a 1/4 inch off each side by 3 3/4, which is right there. And I love the So Swirly because it doesn't matter where you put it in the embossing folder. And it's also one of the big embossing folders. You can do 2 of these at a time. So now that's going to fit right in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do this panel. It's interesting. I'm going to put on a lot. I want it to stay flat and not buckle up on the sides. Yeah, like that swirl. Looks good. Doesn't really matter though. Okay. Now, when I made this, in my brain, I told myself I wanted this to be a little higher, and then I put it right smack dab in the middle. So on this one, I am going to put it a little higher. You can decide which one you like best to put yours together, but I'm going to go ahead and put it up there. So I'm just going to put some adhesive. Put that. Try to keep it like equidistant there, and there. Just more pleasing to the eye, I think. And then these snowflakes I stamped. So you won't get these because they are stamped images, and I'm not permitted to send you those by Stampin' Up policy. Okay, and this is all going to go here. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. I'm just going to use some liquid glue here. And we want our snowflake pointing up. You can see there, and there. It's pretty well centered. Looking at this line here. Yep, that looks pretty straight. And you know, I don't think there are pines that look this red, but this cherry cobbler just looks so strikingly pretty. This one's going to go this way, where the points aren't going straight up. And it actually fits onto that one with just a little bit sticking out. So it's pretty easy to get that piece on. And then this one's going to go here. And you know, you could pop dot that one. I think I shall. I wonder if this will fit or it's too big. Oh no, it fits. Oh, awesome. I'm going to go ahead and pop that one up. And I haven't put any bling on these yet, but I shall. Okay, Celebrate the Season. This one is in black. So this is our 3/4 inch white cardstock. And it's Celebrate the Season. So we're going to get that one back. And do that one in black. Okay, now I'm going to practice. That looks really good. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and diagonal those sides, make it a parallelogram. Clean in my stamp. Okay, let's get our cutter. So I'm just gonna put it in my cutter and I'm just gonna go ahead and cut a diagonal. I'm gonna keep this piece this time so I can show you. I'm gonna turn it. I'm gonna line this piece, this side, on one of the lines. So I need to go over a little further. That looks just about right. Hold it down really well. I've had them slide. Now, look, it is exact. It is the exact same angle. I love math. So this we're going to go ahead and put on with foam dots. At the bottom. Okay. So, wondering which one you like better. Would love for you to let me know if you like the red circle higher or if you like it in the center. I think I like this one myself. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and attach this to our card. Okay, so here's the important part. This has to be unglued. Okay, because it has to stand up. So you're only going to glue this bottom part, which remember, the green is 2 3/4. So if you're using a grid, it's nice. I don't know if you can see the numbers here. I don't think you can, but there, yes, you can. There are numbers up there. So here's 0, here's 2 3/4, and I know this is a little smaller, so I don't want to go all the way to the edges. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go all the way up there to the fold. Just don't go over the fold. Move that down, and then I'm going to try to do this at an angle because I don't need to anymore. There. And there. So only adhesive there. I'm going to put this on. Just kind of looking to make it. And there you go. Now it will sit up when we get our inside sentiment on. So on the inside, I wished I had put a snowflake here. So I think I'm gonna do that. And I think I'm gonna do it in the garden green with a stamp off. At least I'll see how that looks. I don't know if you've ever finished a card and looked at it and went, oh goodness, I should have done this. Well, the nice thing is, if you have the materials, you can just redo it, which is awesome. Okay, so this is a Vert Jardin. I like to put the French names on them. I don't speak French very well, but I do love it. It's a beautiful language. So that's stamped, and that's the stamp off. I think I'm going to do the stamp off. So this is going to be vertical. Stamp. I'm going to do it like this. And stamp off. think that's going to be really pretty. So we're going to go ahead and put that on first. And then we'll go ahead and add our inside sentiment. Okay, our inside sentiment is "It's the most magical time of year," which we've already done that before. That's too wide. I must not have cut a thinner one. I think it needs to be a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this to a 1/2. Chamonix is trying to get my hubby's attention. All right, 1/2 inch. Oh, this is a 1/2 inch. Hang on. When in doubt, get the ruler out. Oh, it is a 1/2 inch. That is the right one. Just didn't look right. Okay. Where is my phone? There we go. Okay, this is our last thing we need to stamp. It's the most magical time of the year. It's this one. I'm just gonna take it, let it drop. Okay, and I did stamp this in black. Practice. Should be more like, I should call it a stamp check. Making sure there's nothing on the stamp except ink. That's a really nice one. Really nice one. Okay. And I believe this is already the correct, like, nope, it is not. So we're going to go ahead and cut the ends. Pretty close, because this is a long sentiment. And we need it to fit well, and we're going to double mat it. We're going to use some old olive and some cherry cobbler to double mat. Okay. Okay, so we have that piece. Now, our old olive piece needs to be 3 5/8 by 3/4. So I'm going to start with the 3/4, which is right there. I love that it measures both ways. So 3/4 of an inch by 3 5/8, which is right there. It's a little too, this is not right. I don't think this was the right size. And I might be too little for me to cut. But I'm gonna try to cut it. Trying really hard not to cut off that L or this G. Let's go ahead and put it right there. Okay. Let's try it again. Oh yeah, that's going to work perfectly. So that is not a 1/2 inch. And I will cut it to the correct length when I send it to you, and I will send you 2. That's centimeters. It's a little more than a 1/2. I don't know what I did before measuring, but always measure twice. Then cut it, throw it away, measure it again. Sometimes you wind up doing that. And our cherry cobbler mat, that's gonna be 3 7/8 by 7/8. So let's go ahead and do the 7/8. By 3 3/4. Okay, we should be ready to finish our card. Let me just make sure that fits. It does. All right, so let's go ahead and glue that one on. And the sentiment. Use liquid glue, then you have a little bit of time that it'll slide. Not a lot of time, but just a little, in case it's not where you need it. Come this way a little. There we go. So this is going to prop up our card. So I'm going to go ahead and put on, I'm going to use 4 dimensionals, because I really need it to stay, not move, and, you know, be nice and sturdy to hold the card up when it's put in its easel shape. Okay, so you kind of stand this up and see where you want the prop up to be. I think I'm going to put it, let's see, if I put it right above the snowflake, I think that'll work. So I'm going to put this just right above, or maybe even a tad bit over the snowflake. Let me see. Right there. Looks like I need a little bit more white on the end there. Get nice and straight. You can use your grid paper to kind of see. Yeah, that looks pretty straight.